carried the scent of pine and damp earth as Arav Mehta, a travel journalist, stepped onto the dimly lit platform of Barag station. The station, nestled deep in the mist-covered hills of Shimla, exuded an eerie silence despite the occasional murmur of passengers waiting for the next train. Arav had come here with a purpose, not just to witness the breathtaking beauty of the Kaka-Shimla railway but to investigate the spine-chilling legend of Tunnel Number 33. For decades, locals had whispered tales of Captain Barag, a British engineer who had tragically ended his life after a failed tunnel construction attempt. Some claimed his gentle spirit still roamed the tunnel, seeking solace, while others warned of something far more sinister lurking within the darkness. Arav, a skeptic, had dismissed these stories as mere folklore. But when he mentioned his plans to visit the tunnel at night, the station master, an old man named Mahesh, had given him a grave look. "You should not go there after dark, sir," Mahesh warned. "The captain's spirit is not the only one inside. Something else waits in the shadows." Arav chuckled. "Ghosts don't scare me, Mahesh ji. But their stories do interest me." Mahesh sighed. "Then may the mountain gods protect you. Just remember, if you hear whispers in the tunnel, do not reply. And whatever you do, never turn around." Ignoring the warning, Arav adjusted his backpack and made his way toward the gaping mouth of Tunnel Number 33, the last rays of the setting sun casting long, distorted shadows on the damp stone walls. As he stepped inside, an unsettling silence swallowed the world outside. The tunnel stretched on like an endless black void, its walls wet and cold to the touch. Arav switched on his flashlight, the beam cutting through the thick darkness, illuminating strange markings on the walls, perhaps remnants of an unfinished past. He had barely walked a few steps when a faint whisper echoed through the tunnel. "Why have you come?" Arav froze. The voice was soft yet clear, spoken in an old English accent. A chill ran down his spine, but he shook it off. "It's just the wind," he told himself. Ignoring Mahesh's warning, he whispered back, "Who's there?" A long silence followed. Then, the temperature around him plummeted. His breath turned visible in the frigid air. And then the voice returned. "You shouldn't be here. They will wake up." Before he could react, his flashlight flickered violently, then died, plunging him into absolute darkness. Panic surged through him. He fumbled for his phone, but a cold breath brushed against his ear. "Run!" Arav turned on instinct. And that's when he saw it, a tall, shadowy figure standing at the other end of the tunnel. But something was wrong. The figure was not alone. Behind it, multiple glowing eyes blinked open, staring at him from the depths of the tunnel. The air thickened with an unnatural energy, and a sound, a mix of a low growl and a grotesque whisper, rose around him. Arav's instincts screamed at him to flee. Heart hammering, he sprinted toward the exit, his breath ragged, his legs burning. The whispers turned into shrieks, the tunnel walls seeming to close in around him. And then just as suddenly as it had begun the sounds stopped. The air lightened. He stumbled out of the tunnel, collapsing onto the rocky ground, gasping for breath. When he looked back, the tunnel was empty. But deep inside, he could still hear the lingering echo of a whisper. "It is not over." Back at the station, Mahesh found Airav trembling, his face pale. The old man shook his head. "You spoke, didn't you?" he asked solemnly. Airav nodded, his voice hoarse. I saw something in there. It wasn't just Captain Barag. There were others." Mahesh sighed. "Then you must know the full story." He led Airav to a small wooden bench and began speaking in a low voice. Captain Barag was an honest man, but the British humiliated him after his tunnel construction failed. They fined him 1 rupee, but the shame broke him. One evening, he walked into the incomplete tunnel, and shot himself. But his soul never left. Airav swallowed hard. "But, what about the others?" Mahesh's expression darkened. "There were many deaths in that tunnel over the years. Railway workers crushed under falling rocks, children who wandered in and never returned, passengers who stepped in and were never seen again. Their spirits linger, trapped in the darkness. But unlike Captain Barag, not all of them are kind. Some are hungry." Airav shuddered, remembering the glowing eyes in the tunnel. Mahesh leaned closer. "If they have seen you, they will call you back. Do not answer their whispers. And whatever happens, do not enter that tunnel again." But deep down, Airav knew his story with tunnel number 33 was not over. That night, Airav tossed and turned in his hotel room, the whispers from the tunnel still echoing in his mind. Sleep came in fragments, filled with chilling visions of shadowy figures clawing at him, of Captain Barag's sorrowful eyes, of something ancient and malevolent lurking in the dark. At exactly 3 a.m., his phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Come back. We are waiting." Airav bolted upright, his skin crawling. The room was deathly silent, yet he felt watched. And then, a knock at his door. Slow. Rhythmic. 3 knocks. He stared at the door, dread coiling in his chest. Another knock. Then the whisper. "Airav, come back." His blood ran cold. The voice was inside the room. He grabbed his bag and bolted, fleeing into the misty streets of Shimla. He ran until his lungs burned, until he reached the railway station. Mahesh was nowhere to be found. But the tunnel, it was waiting. And deep inside, the whispers called his name. Airav stood before the entrance of tunnel number 33, heart pounding. A cold force pulled him forward. He tried to resist, but his body moved on its own, stepping into the suffocating darkness. The moment he entered, the whispers surged like a storm. And this time, he understood them. They were not calling him to leave. They were calling him home. Arav tried to scream, but his voice was lost. Cold hands gripped his arms, his legs, his throat. He struggled, but the darkness swallowed him whole. The last thing he saw was Captain Barag's ghost, standing at the exit, his face filled with sorrow. And then everything faded. Weeks later, Mahesh stood near Tunnel 33, staring at its dark entrance. Arav was never found. His belongings were discovered near the station, but no trace of him remained. The authorities ruled it as an accidental disappearance. But Mahesh knew better. As he turned to leave, a whisper echoed from the tunnel. "Why have you come?" Mahesh's heart clenched. Because this time, the voice was Arav's.